All right, hey, Dr. Kelly Duffner here from the OSCA Young Professionals Committee. And what we're doing is we're doing a webinar series, and we're going to bring on presenters and talk to them just about things that young docs out there you may be struggling with, that I've struggled with in the past, and the foreseeable future, especially now with these unprecedented times. And we've heard that time and time again. And I want to welcome Dr. Alex Dedan. If you don't know who Dr. Alex Dedan is, check him out. He is one of the foragers. He's in the media, on the news. He's huge in China, literally and figuratively. He does a lot of great stuff for docs, puts out lots of great content, actionable content that can be used in your communities. So make sure you follow him on the major social media channels and check out dralexdedan.com. All those things. Man that really needs no introduction, and if you haven't heard of him, we got to get you on board, okay? So welcome, Dr. Alex Dedan. Thank you for coming on. And what we're talking about today is how do we make patients feel safe coming back into the office? Because, you know, for some of us in Ohio, we didn't have to shut down, but some may have shut down in the process, may have taken a couple weeks to recalibrate. We're under a mask ordinance right now, mandatory masks in town. How do we make our patients feel safe, get them back in the office, get them back on their care plan, so that way they have their goals laid out in front and that we communicate with them?
Sure. Well, first, thank you very much for the introduction, Doc, and thanks for having me be a part of this. This is certainly something, like you said, where it's these unprecedented times, and times where things are in flux and they're constantly changing, and it's a new way of thinking about some things, but still holds true to, you know, some solid foundations within all of this as well. So, you know, we've got to see things from the patient's point of view while still holding true to what our own philosophies and thought process is within all this too. But you're going to hear I'm going to make sure that we stress a major theme throughout all this, and it's be open to meeting patients where they are and then showing them along to what it is that they can have. And that's a major tenement of mine as far as a foundational principle that I have with my communication with people, with, you know, with docs, with patients, with my community, with all those things. Because I feel like if I can at least come to that as an open door, as opposed to an opportunity to just slam that door in their face, then we have an opportunity to educate, learn, open up ideas, open up people's minds to then seeing other things and other opportunities. Because right now they're obviously being fed a lot of information, and they're being inundated with a lot of information no matter where they turn, and they want a trusted source that they can turn to. And why shouldn't your office be the one for that?
Yeah. How do we even approach the topic? Because we have patients on all ends of the spectrum, like patients that are afraid to come out of their homes, and patients that are like diehard gun-toting. Where do we meet them? How do we meet them? Like, what's the conversation like? Do we even talk news? Do we talk media?
Yeah. No, those are great questions. I mean, I think that one of the biggest things is that they need to see what it is that you've got in your office, and believe what's happening there in the office, see with their eyes, right? And so everywhere that they go, they're going in, and I'm not going to get into, I'm not here to try to convince someone from one side to another or vice versa or anything like that. I'm just saying what's out there right now. If what's out there right now is they're going out in their community, no matter where they go. Like St. Louis is similar to where you are too. Like, we are under ordinance of, you know, you're supposed to wear a mask no matter where you go. You know, you're out in the public. If you're in St. Louis, you're wearing a mask. So if I go to a grocery store, I go to a convenience store, I go wherever it is, I have to be wearing that, right? And then I'm seeing everywhere, no matter where it is that you go, that they're disinfecting everything and they're sanitizing everything and all that kind of stuff too. If I see those things happening in other places, but I go into someone else's office, and my idea is that's what safe is, and that's what clean is, and that's what's going to keep me healthy and everything else. Doesn't matter your philosophy on it. I'm talking about the general public's thought process on this. That if I come into your office, I need to see those similar things happening, so that I feel like, okay, I'm in a doctor's office and the standards are either the same or higher than what I'm seeing everywhere else. And so whatever that means to you within that, you need to follow suit, because they are going to see that as the same kind of thing too. Now, individual conversations, like you asked, because we deal with the same thing. I've got patients on both sides of the spectrum where it's, I'm fearful of coming out of my house, and forget it, there's nothing that's really going on at all, right? Yeah. We deal with the same thing. And each of those conversations are on an individual basis. I mean, in my office, we have, it's open adjusting, it's all open. It's all there. So people hear conversations, they hear things that are going on. It opens up ideas, but also you have to be careful of how you direct those conversations too, because you don't want to sit there in a half-hour long conversation about something that you really have no desire getting to, because people are there for other things. You know, they're there to get adjusted and get care.
Yeah. Okay, let's play a scenario then.
Sure.
You have an anti-masker come in, and you got a patient room full of masks.
Yeah.
How do we handle that?
But I have that, you know, I certainly have that, you know, and oddly enough, not oddly enough, I should say, this particular patient that I'm thinking of, she's a huge proponent of chiropractic. She and her entire family get care. She and her parents all work at the hospital, and they're all in surgeries, and they're everything like, and they are just like, no to masks, no to any of it. The way we handle it is we treat them with love and compassion and everything else. We don't force them to do anything. We just carry on.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now, let's say that you have multiple patients in the office, patients that you know are anti or pro, those sorts of things. We're putting you on blast here, man. We're asking you the tough questions early on.
Please.
If the conversation is getting out of control, how do we redirect?
Those are ones where if it's getting out of control, one of the best things to say is that that's a great question. And I'd really love to talk to you more about that. In fact, and you can do it one of two ways. I'd really like to talk to you more about that. Let me give you a call about that, and we can talk more in depth. Can I call you tonight? And I like to do that. Personally, I'll do that on my drive home from the office to the house and then go from there. Usually most people say, oh, no, doc, it's okay. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I would say 98% of people say no. 2% say, okay, cool. And then I call them and they're like, oh, doc, you didn't have to. It's okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And that's it. Yeah. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. But that's it. It's the redirect is just that. That's a great question. And then it's, can I give you a call about that? We can talk more in detail about it.
Yeah. And then as far as going, how are we showing them? How would you ask or direct docs to be able to show people that, hey, the office is safe, we're taking these precautions? Like, what ways can we reach out to them to be able to let them know that information?
Well, I mean, look, social media is going to be a great way to do that, right? Using social media to your advantage. What are you showing them? You know, like if you go onto our social media page, they're gonna see, right? So you go to Vidam Family Chiropractic, our Facebook page, you go to our Google page, you go to whatever it is, you're going to see those things which tells the story of this is what's happening.
Yeah.
In our office. So you can then construct the conversation, right? Because your projection and perception is the thing. It's what are you projecting out there to tell your patients, this is the type of office that we have, and these are the things that we're doing in our office. You can do everything from shooting a video to doing a write-up to whatever it is that says this is what we're doing and showing them this is what we're doing. Those are the things, because when they can see that, they're going to look you up, right? They're going to look you up on online. They're going to look you up on social media. They're going to check you out before they come into your office. Mm-hmm. And when they're doing that, they're checking out what's going on, and they want to see what image are you projecting, and then what's the perception, because their perception of that and how they're going to take that is the reality of what is that they're going to see. And so they need to see those things. So that's step one. Step two is when I come into your office, are those are those ideas, are the projection that you put out there, the perception that I have of your office, is that confirmed? And so when I get there, I need to see confirmation of those things too. So are you wearing the mask, right? Are you wearing masks in your office? Can I see things like disinfectant sprays, or can I see things like disinfectant towels, and all that kind of stuff, Clorox wipes, all that kind of stuff? What am I seeing? Those things all tell the story without having to say anything.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that they need to instantly see and go, okay, I see these things, if that's the story that you're going to be telling.
Yeah. And if I'm a doc that's more on, I guess you would call, obviously you have your straights, your mixers, those sorts of things. It's well known within chiropractic. How do we steer the conversation to immune function, immune response, stress levels? What are some examples of how we can talk to our patients on a daily basis of, when stress is high, what happens?
Yeah. Well, you and I have talked about this a lot, right?
Yeah.
Is that very thing. Right now, with the way that things are in chiropractic, it's in the way that our governing bodies are battling and seeing things and everything like that. It's a tough place, depending on where you're practicing, to be able to say chiropractic equals strong immune system, right? Chiropractic adjustment, no matter what your belief is on that, doesn't matter. So there's specific ways as to how you can position that and everything. But one thing that we do know that's supported out there is this, and this is nothing that anyone would ever fight you on or anything else, that when stress is high, immune function is low, right? So we can all agree that. I don't think anybody's going to say, no, when stress is high, your immune function is actually goes higher. Nobody really says that. So right now, stress is high. Our baseline stress for everyone is higher than what it ever has been before. We're dealing with so many things, especially right now, people go and have their kids go back to school, virtual, whatever, job safety, all that kind of stuff. All of that, like, stress is just higher in general. And we're being inundated with information that makes stress go higher. And so the thing is that we need to figure out, how do we make that connection? Well, the way that we can make that connection is talking to them about the chiropractic adjustment helping with stress, right? And so what we have research that's out there. Some of it's done in Japan, some of it's done actually right here in St. Louis by Logan. And so they talk about immune function dealing with cortisol levels and heart rate variability. Now, cortisol levels, we know, is one that's the cortisol is, the stress hormone, so you can relate it to that. The other one is heart rate variability, and Harvard says, look, heart rate variability is probably our best determining factor as to how it is that your body handles stress. Mm-hmm. And so when we look at that, the research that's out there says, or the research that's out there supports that when we deliver that adjustment, cortisol levels actually drop and regulate better. Heart rate variability actually regulates much better. So it allows your body to better handle the stress. So when we frame it in that kind of context, when we're talking to a patient, so that conversation would sound something like this. The patient comes in, we're talking to them, we want to take that conversation there. And, well, Sally, we know right now that we're at just a high level of stress, like our baseline stress is much higher than it's ever has been. And Sally's going to be like, yeah, no, I agree. Well, Sally, would you agree that when stress is high, immune function is low? I don't know if you've heard that before. And Sally's going to be like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Well, it's interesting. They've got research that's out there that talks about how chiropractic helps with the way your body handles stress. Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, the stress that's out there actually comes from Japan and comes from Logan. And they're talking about cortisol and heart rate variability. I don't know if you've heard that cortisol is that stress hormone we typically relate it to stress. Well, they found that whenever they do the adjustment, whenever they have that it actually allows your cortisol levels to drop and normalize. And Harvard, they actually talked about heart rate variability being a key indicator in how your body handles stress. And they said that, and what the research out there supports is that supports that whenever you get an adjustment, that allows your heart rate variability to normalize and actually function even better so that you can handle that stress even better. So Sally, let's make sure we get you adjusted and let your body handle that stress better so that your body is able to handle all the stress that we're dealing with. And just like that, right? So we made all the connections that we needed to make without having to worry about anything as far as connections that in saying things directly that can sometimes lead to more problems. And I mean, sadly enough, I've definitely heard about across the country, people getting called out to their board because of the fact that they said chiropractic adjustment equals better immune function. And now there's a problem, So I'm not saying for you to say that or not to say that. I'm just saying the things that I'm hearing out there that's going on. And so that's a way to bridge that gap. And if you're saying that the research supports this and this is what the research said, and you can look it up for yourself and see all those things, then, you're just regurgitating what that research said.
Correct. Yeah. So obviously we want to be in line with what valid research we have available to us and be able to format that is appropriate to each patient. Also, let's say this scenario, you had Sally, you were going up strong into the care plan up until March, and then all of a sudden Rona blasted, roadblock, done with treatment until August. Okay.
Sure.
What does that conversation look like when Sally comes back into the office that first day?
Oh, that's a great question. We like to take it from the perspective of, Sally, it's great to see you again, all those kind of things. Anything that we've had as far as, we're going to make sure we cover the basis, right? So any hospitalizations, injuries, trauma, surgery since last time that we saw you, hits, so that we know anything like that that's new. And then let's find out what's been going on so we can get them back on track, right? Get them back to, has anything changed with the goals? Anything changed with where we need to, the direction of what we're doing for care right now? And if it's no, it's the same as what it has been, and I've been terrible since last time that I saw you, well, let's see about getting you back on track. In fact, now we might need to see you more in the beginning and then start to taper it off, or whatever it is that you do for your patients, how it is that you care for them whenever they've had either an exacerbation or restarting care or anything else. But again, we want to meet them where they are. Let's ask them what's going on. Why is it that now you've decided to go ahead and restart care? Why is it that now you've decided to come back?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And then obviously another thing is that, and I've heard dentistry going this way, with the cost of PPE, it's obviously an added expense.
Sure.
And I guess that would be up to the doc's discretion. How do we have the conversation that, hey, it's costing me extra to provide all these services, it's taking more time. Is there any ways that you've thought about either implementing a PPE surcharge, any stuff like that? What are your thoughts on that? And I know it's going to be very widely.
Sure. Yeah, that's going to vary widely from office to office. We have not pushed any surcharges onto them, or any changes in charges or anything like that. Certainly a doc could do that. I feel like right now that's more of a gamble to do.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, well, I mean, there's an opportunity there for you to show your community what it is that you're doing to help them, and them to see that and to know that. So I would not change anything as far as increasing prices or anything like that because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, for me, that's just like, well, that's just the cost of doing business. Now, having said that, I'm sure that other companies are doing that very thing. I'm sure that, your grocery store is doing that same thing, where incrementally across the board, they're changing prices of things to cover that and cover their basis for all the things that they've done. But, we look at it as this is just how we've got to do business right now. And this is what it is. We provide masks for patients if they come in and they don't have anything or anything else. So it's just how it is, cost of business for us.
Yeah. What other, obviously this never let a good crisis go to waste. What kind of opportunities does this present in your community as far as maybe doing those extra things for your patients to let them really know like why you're here, why you do what you do? What are some other things that you can do in your community to help?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, people are hyper receptive right now. I mean, they're hyper receptive. So I'm seeing that people are in a couple different camps, but the hyper receptive camp is there, and they're looking for these things because, like you said, they've been having these problems going on for a long period of time. And now, because of quarantine, because of everything else, because of all the stuff that's going on, they've now exacerbated the condition that they've been having, and they're looking for help. They're looking for somewhere that they can go. They don't want to go the traditional routes that they've been seeing before, because either they don't want to be in that environment, right? Or they're looking for a solution to the problem that they've never had before. And so like right now, our office is busier than ever. So we are definitely busier than we ever have been. I know that's not the case for a lot of offices, but I feel like a major aspect of that is that we're doing the things to put the message out there. We were already busy before all this. Now we're even busier, and so I think that there's
What's some of the
strategies that
docs
people
that
think.
are maybe not as busy as they want to be right now? What are some things that we can do to help them out?
Yeah. I mean, the big things is project that perception of what it is that you want, right? Project, and I don't mean that I don't mean that in a thought process kind of way. I mean in an action way. Like, what are you putting out there? Like, what things on social media are you putting out there? What are you showing your patients? What are things that you're showing them to say that this is a safe place that you can come, that you're going to get the care that you need, and we're here to take care of you, right? Are you taking temperatures when they walk in the door? Are you wearing masks? Do they see the Clorox? Do they see, are you wiping down the tables between every single patient? Are they visibly seeing those things happening to where they know, hey, I can refer my friends and family here because I see that the same things are taking place that I want to see. Now, having said that, once they have that perception that's out there, it's how often you're getting that message out there to enough people to make sure that it has an actual impact. And so not just your patient base, but your community too. Push those things out to your community. Yeah, you can use Facebook. Yeah, you can use social media. Yeah, you can use Google My Business. You can use all those things. You can use LinkedIn. You can use whatever it is that you want. Use TikTok, whatever. There's a lot of different strategies in putting that message out there, but you've got to get it out there to more and more people. Are you emailing your patient base that you have right now? I mean, you have an entire list of people that a lot of them are thinking to themselves, I didn't know you were still open. I've been thinking about coming in, but I didn't know if you were open, and I didn't call. I thought about it, but I haven't, and all that kind of stuff. And then they get the email and they're like, oh yeah, cool. I mean, you can still use snail mail too,
Yeah.
I mean, you can do those things and get that message out there to your patients. All of these things take, the social media side takes little to no effort to boost that out there. You can upload lists, you can do all that kind of stuff, but you can get that message out there to a lot of people instantaneously, and it's going to show up in their feed, but it needs to be the repetition of that too.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Your message has to be heard. Number two, when they get into your office, you got to show them what it is that that you're doing, right? Like, they need to see it. It needs to be right there, like we've already talked about. It needs to be readily available. I see you doing all the things that make me feel safe and feel like this is the right place where my kids are coming and all that. Like, our office right now is full of kids, and it's because patients come in and they feel like, oh, this place is a good place. I can be here, and my kids are good here too. It's going to be good. All right. Like, this is going to be a good thing. I don't need to worry about anything. All the precautions, all the boxes are checked to make me feel like it's the right place. So that's the thing, to now have referrals. And now we have, we've got tons of pregnant patients that we're seeing right now, all that. Right. So it's about getting that message out there to more and more people to make that an effective use of your time, but also a way of getting your message out there to people to say, yeah, I'm going to get what I need here and feel that I'm safe as well. They're looking for you. They just don't know that you exist or that you're still open.
Yeah. And I think now, people are hyper receptive and they're looking for different options, other options, especially with more and more holes in the curtain to say things are really opening up, opening a lot of eyes.
Yes.
So I think it's a huge opportunity for the spotlight to be really shed.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head right there. Like, this time right now is a huge opportunity. Like, this is an opportunity for docs to get their message out and have it be heard by so many more people that are open to that. Because like I said, they're hyper receptive, but very few people are getting that message out there. You do not have to be a doctor that's being seen worldwide. You just need to be seen there in your community as the one to go to, right? I mean, certainly you can have people that fly in from wherever to come see you, or drive for hours and hours to come see you. That's fine. And that sounds cool and everything. And that's great and all those things. But at the same time, like, what about right there in your own backyard? If you can deliver the goods right there in your own backyard and people see you as that person that they can go to, as that doctor that he or she can trust to get the care that they need, and you're going to be able to help them and you're going to be able to get the results that they want, then there's nowhere else that they're going to go. They're going to go to your place. And it's a huge opportunity right now. So push hard and keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I have on my end. If we get any emails from docs, that sort of thing, you can email me, drkellyduffner@gmail.com, and then we will transfer the goods over. So if you guys need anything, don't hesitate to to reach out, and then we're going to be doing some regular webinars, bringing lots of good folks like Dr. Vadan on. But thank you so much. Anything in closing you want to add or subtract?
No, you know, I mean, look, there's no doubt that this is one of those topics that can be one of those ones that gets a little hairy and gets fuzzy too. So to have specific questions, sometimes people have specific questions about certain instances or circumstances or anything like that. Look, no matter what it is, you've got to make sure that you trust what's right for you, what's right for your ethics and your philosophy, and that's going to be legal for your state and for your board too. So no matter what I said in there, whatever it is, it's got to fit those criteria to make it right for you. And I pose no judgment on anybody for any of that. It's like you do what's right for you and then go forward from there and do what's right as far as what's going to be legally and ethically obligated of you as well. I mean, the big thing that I would say is that if anybody has any questions, reach out to me. I'm on all the different social medias. You can hit me up there, message me, DM me, whatever it is. And I'm happy to help answer questions, all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and so Dr. Vadan has been a valuable mentor. And anytime you need anything, just reach out to him. He's always available, always willing to help. So it's been Dr. Kelly Duffner, Dr. Vadan, and we are signing off. And we'll see you until next time. Thanks.